The crystal glass slipped from trembling hands, and a dark stream of expensive red wine splashed across the worn navy jacket of the quiet man standing near the ballroom entrance. For one long heartbeat, the music faded beneath the sharp sound of laughter, spreading through the room. Nearly 200 elegantly dressed guests turned to watch as if humiliation itself had become the night's entertainment. Have you ever imagined standing alone while an entire room judged you without knowing your story? If you were in that moment, would anger take control, or would you remain silent and let the truth reveal itself when the time was right? The grand charity gala in downtown Chicago had attracted some of the most influential executives, investors, and entrepreneurs in the country. Every polished marble floor reflected success, every sparkling chandelier seemed to celebrate wealth, and every carefully chosen guest carried a reputation worth protecting. Standing quietly near the entrance was a middle-aged man named Michael. His jacket looked older than the tailored suits surrounding him, and the polished shoes everyone else admired made his simple leather shoes seem invisible. Security had already questioned him twice, assuming he had wandered into the wrong event. Still, Michael simply smiled, thanked them for their professionalism, and waited patiently. The evening's hosts, brothers Nathan and Jacob, were preparing to finalize what they proudly called the biggest partnership in their company's history. For months they had told employees, investors, and even reporters that a $1 billion investment agreement would transform their struggling corporation into an industry leader. They had never met the mysterious owner behind the investment group personally. Everything had been arranged through attorneys and advisors, making tonight the first official introduction. Excitement filled the ballroom because everyone believed they were about to witness history. When one of the waiters accidentally brushed against Michael, the tray tilted, sending an entire bottle of premium wine across his clothes. Gasps echoed through the room before turning into whispers and nervous laughter. Nathan looked directly at Michael with visible irritation, convinced the quietly dressed stranger had somehow caused the accident. Without asking what had happened, he publicly blamed Michael for embarrassing the event. Several guests smirked, while others looked away, uncomfortable but unwilling to defend someone they assumed did not belong. Michael quietly accepted a stack of napkins from the embarrassed waiter and gently thanked him instead of placing blame where it did not belong. The stain spread across Michael's jacket, like a painful reminder of years spent being underestimated. He remembered growing up in rural Ohio, where his widowed mother worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. He remembered wearing donated clothes to school while classmates laughed at him. Those memories had never disappeared, even after decades of building one of America's most respected investment firms. Success had changed his bank account, but never his heart. He still believed the true character of a person appeared not during victory, but during moments when no one expected kindness. Nathan ordered security to escort Michael away before the important investors arrived. Security approached politely, but before they could guide him toward the exit, an elderly woman named Margaret stepped forward. She had spent years volunteering alongside Michael at homeless shelters without ever mentioning his financial success to anyone. She recognized the quiet strength in his eyes immediately. She calmly asked security to wait just a few moments because she believed an enormous mistake was about to be made. Her calm confidence caused enough hesitation for the ballroom to fall strangely silent. At that exact moment, the lead attorney responsible for the $1 billion agreement entered carrying a leather portfolio. He walked directly past the hosts, ignored the welcoming cameras, and stopped in front of Michael. With genuine respect, he apologized for the delay before addressing him as the founder and sole owner of the investment company everyone had been waiting to meet. The room froze. Conversations disappeared. Faces that had been filled with arrogance only moments earlier suddenly reflected disbelief and fear. Nathan's expression drained of color as the realization struck harder than any public humiliation he had ever experienced. Michael looked around the ballroom, not with revenge in his eyes, but with quiet sadness. He explained that every financial report had already convinced him the company possessed potential. Tonight had never been about reviewing numbers. It had been about meeting the people responsible for leading thousands of employees into the future. He believed that leadership could never be measured by quarterly profits alone. It had to be measured by compassion shown toward the weakest person in the room, especially when no reward was expected. Unfortunately, what he had witnessed over the last 30 minutes had answered every question he needed to ask. Nathan desperately apologized, insisting stress had clouded his judgment. Jacob admitted they had assumed appearances revealed a person's value. Many guests lowered their eyes, remembering how easily they had laughed instead of standing beside someone being humiliated. Even the waiter who had spilled the wine struggled to hold back tears, believing he had destroyed everything. Michael walked toward him first. Instead of criticism, he thanked the young man for trying to help clean the jacket and reminded him that accidents reveal humanity, while pride reveals character. The waiter quietly cried because no one had ever responded to his mistakes with such unexpected grace. Michael then turned back toward the stunned audience. He announced that the investment would not proceed under the current leadership because billions of dollars placed into the wrong hands could damage countless families depending on honest employment. However, he also promised that if the company truly transformed its culture, treated every employee with dignity, and demonstrated genuine change rather than polished speeches, his door would remain open in the future. Real second chances, he explained, must always be earned through consistent actions rather than emotional apologies. Months later, the story quietly spread across corporate America. Nathan and Jacob stepped away from daily leadership and began rebuilding the company from the inside out. Mandatory leadership training focused on respect rather than profit. Employees who had once felt invisible discovered their voices mattered. Customer satisfaction improved. Workplace morale grew stronger, and charitable programs expanded into neighborhoods the company had ignored for years. Nearly 18 months later, Michael visited their headquarters again. This time, the receptionist warmly greeted every visitor. Executives personally thanked custodians, and the atmosphere felt completely different. Only then did Michael sign a new investment agreement, believing that people who truly learn humility can become the strongest leaders of all. Before the story ends, tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you had witnessed Michael being humiliated in front of 200 guests? Some people spend their lives chasing respect through wealth, while others earn it through kindness when no one is watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, so more people can be reminded that true greatness is never measured by appearances, but by the compassion we choose to show every single day.